When Carolyn Jones joined the cast of the classic sitcom The Addams Family, in '64 she gave a revealing interview where she admitted to doing the series because she desperately needed work at the time would have on her life. She shared in an interview that being a part of the show brought her a whole new set of fans, most of whom were teenagers. She also briefly addressed the concern of being typecast. A Star is Born, Jones's early life and struggles. Long before she was Morticia, she was born Carolyn Sue Jones, April 28, 1930, in Amarillo, Texas. Biographer James Plant wrote in his book Morticia's Shadow, The Life and Career of Carolyn Jones, that she was raised in the West Texas town of Amarillo, and that from an early age she was always a misfit. Jones never really felt like she fit in with kids her age. She was extremely close with her agoraphobic mother, Chloe, but her father, Julius, was barely in the picture. He abandoned his family when Carolyn was still very young, and she never actually met him. Because of her crippling fear of leaving the house, Chloe was never really capable of holding down a job. So Carolyn and her mom ended up living with her grandmother and stepfather, who provided for the family. The house they lived in was quite small and cramped. Carolyn had lung problems as a child. She ended up in show business, hoping it would provide her some kind of escape. Because of her condition, she wasn't allowed to go to the movies, so she'd read movie magazines and listen to the radio. She discussed this in a 1961 interview. She recalled how when she was a child, her health was so poor she couldn't even go to school. Acting became her main obsession when she was still quite young. It was something other young people her age couldn't really relate to, so she became a bit of an outsider. From an early age, she wasn't lacking in ambition to get out of Amarillo and make her way to Hollywood. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. And stick around to see how the iconic role of Morticia Addams came her way. An alternate telling of events. In 1978, Carolyn offered up a very different story of her background to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Although it should be noted that Jones had a reputation for exaggerating and embellishing the truth a bit at times. She claimed that when she was in the second grade, her teacher informed her mom that she had the gift of, quote, natural expression, and she could reach all the way to the rear of the classroom when she read books aloud. Her mom then enrolled her in what was called expression lessons, but that's not what her grandfather wanted. He had always envisioned her becoming a doctor or lawyer. But after she performed well at declamation in high school, he began to take notice of her gift. Eventually, he took her to Southern Methodist University, where she sat down on the steps of the school's rotunda and broke into tears. She expressed her only desire in life was to become an actress. At first, her grandfather protested, but eventually he gave in and told her if she must be an actress, then at least she should be a professional and be the best one she possibly could be. From high school plays to Hollywood movie star. Back in Amarillo, Jones started performing in school plays, where she gained a great deal of confidence. She started taking lessons, then moved to California, where she found her way to the Pasadena Playhouse. That was the moment when everything changed for her. For the first time in her life, she was finally in her own element. After graduating from high school in 1947, she enrolled at the Pasadena Playhouse training ground for aspiring thespians. For the next 3 years, she gave acting her undivided attention. She also appeared in a couple of summer stock productions in Ogunquit, Maine. But it was while performing at the Pasadena Playhouse that she was spotted by talent scouts for Paramount Pictures, who immediately signed her to a contract with the studio. Her first credited role in a motion picture was in 1952's The Turning Point. Jones made her TV debut on the Dumont series Gruen Playhouse in 1952. Jones's image drastically changed throughout her career. From 1952 to 56, she appeared in 26 movies, including A Hole in the Head alongside Frank Sinatra and King Creole, where she co-starred with Elvis Presley. But even though she was developing quite the reputation in show business, earning bigger roles was no easy task. One of the things she had to do if she wanted to keep acting was to get a nose job, and she didn't have the money for that at the time. Fortunately, her grandfather agreed to pay for the procedure. After her surgery, however, everything changed for the better. Another major image change that boosted her career was the decision to dye her hair blonde. She recognized that her appearance meant so much when it came to making first impressions. As soon as she changed her hair color, she was signed to a term contract at Paramount. Eventually, however, she re-embraced her natural brunette hair color. When she was a blonde, the work came a lot easier, but she found that Hollywood was treating her more as a sex icon than an actress. Once she became a brunette again, she felt as if she had come back into her own. While the 50s were very good for her film career, by the time the 1960s came around, she had chosen to shift to nomination. Jones's declining career, cancer diagnosis, and death. After the Addams family ended in 1966, Jones's career began to decline. She had several sporadic roles in the 70s, including Mrs. Moore, the wife of a plantation owner in the acclaimed miniseries Roots. In 1981, she landed the role of a power-hungry political matriarch named Myrna Clegg in the CBS daytime soap Capital. A year later, not long after Capital debuted, Jones was diagnosed with colon cancer after experiencing recurring stomach problems. Dealing with the crippling effects of the disease, she was forced to play many of her scenes in a wheelchair. After a short period of remission, her cancer returned with a vengeance in 1982. It rapidly spread to her liver and stomach, but despite being in tremendous pain, she finished up shooting the show's first season. In July of 1983, Jones fell into a coma while at her home in West Hollywood. She died a month later, on August 3, 1983. Her body was cremated the following day, and a memorial service was held at Glasbin-Willen Mortuary in Altadena, California, August 5, 1983. Our latest content.